Hey, what's up everybody? Today we're going to be learning about the trickiest bitch in art, and that is color. Woo. So, well, I don't know if it's the trickiest, but I know that a lot of us have problems with it. And as a fellow student myself, I would like to share anything I know with you guys. So, let me just begin. I think that the basis of difficulty, or why color is so difficult, is because it's dependent on the value, and if we can't use values correctly, then color becomes a whole nother fucking mess because we're adding a whole nother element to something we don't understand. So in the beginning, if we draw a cube, for example, okay, so if we draw a cube, Jesus, please don't make fun of my ugly ass lines. Oh, this is quite bad, but whatever, you get the point. So we have a cube, and we're going to pretend that light is hitting it from this direction. So it's pretty simple. You say, as long as you know the base color, like if this is a white cube or already kind of dark cube, like it does depend on the cube, but let's just paint it as if it's a white cube. So easily you can just say, oh well, this side's going to be darker because it's getting hit with less light. This will be the brightest side of the cube. It'll be hit with more light. And this will be the darkest side of the cube. It's being hit by the least amount of light. What if we want to use color? Okay, so this value corresponds to, let me see. Oh. Could be any of these. Okay, what if I use this one? It's in the same value. Okay. For this one, it's literally just straight up white, so what if I use this one? Let's see, for this one, what if I go all the way over here? Now, this doesn't look awful because it sort of looks like it's getting hit by some rim light or some shit on this side, and like it already doesn't look too bad, and that's because I picked my values or my color based on the value it was previously. So it's somewhat accurate, it's just not exactly what we would want. Ideally, this would be the most desaturated. I don't know why the fuck I'm using a tiny brush, but here we go. And this weird shaped brush. Then these sides, oops, be a little bit more saturated. And this side should be also desaturated. This can look a little bit more accurate. Obviously there's several different ways I could color this stupid box, and that's why color is so different. Anyways, the point of the ugly ass box was to show you that what makes color difficult is the fact that we're adding in two new elements. The hue, which shifts, the hue, and the saturation, which takes you from a little line of values to a whole big ass box of values and colors and saturations. Anyways, enough of trying to scare you off from color. Let me just give you an example of how you would take in count saturation and the value of an object, because it all depends on the room and the light. So let me just do a little example of that. So here we have an object that is fairly desaturated brown, and it's pretty dark in value. We're going to put it in 4 different rooms. One of them will be a white room with desaturated white light, strong white light too. because we're gonna just assume for simplicity that the strength of the light is dictated by like the color of the room, which is usually the case. But you can always have like spotlight effects and stuff like that. But anyways, we're just gonna assume a simple light that is the color of the room. So if this room is red, the light is red. This room is blue, the light is blue. This room is dark blue, so the light is a weak blue. So let's begin. This one is in a bright white room with bright white light. Because the light is desaturated and the room is white, the object itself will just be hit by pure white light. So in that case, you could literally just take white and brighten it, or you can just select the object, go into a desaturated color, and brighten it. There you go. It's in a white room in white light. Depending on how reflective it is depending on how much it would change. Like if it was super reflective, obviously it would be extremely white, but I'm gonna assume that it's just a smooth, non-reflective, non-shiny object. So with this one, we're here and we're in a dark room. They're actually relatively almost the same value, but it's in a red light. So we're gonna actually have to hue shift this down to the red and then saturate it a little bit with red, because the red is it's pretty saturated. So it's so strong, it'll actually saturate this object, but with red. Now this one, it's in a darker room than itself, and it's being hit by weak blue light. So generally it'll just get desaturated and darkened and move a tiny bit into the cool colors. With this one, we have we have a bright blue light in a white room, or in a blue room, I guess. And this object is obviously extremely dark compared to the light. So what will happen is that it'll get brighter, obviously. So we're going to go up in value. Not that much, it's not that reflective. So we're going to get brighter. How much should I go up in? We're going to get brighter, and we're going to move a little bit towards the blues. Now you may be thinking, why are you moving down? You should be moving towards the blues. Well, the thing is I'm moving towards the cool colors, and if I move up, I will be moving through the warm colors and skip my way through the blue, which that doesn't happen. We have to go through like the order in which it would happen. Like we go from yellow to orange to red to violet to blue. So we can't go from like down here to just skip up here just because it's easier. You always kind of want to move linearly across the hues. Anyway, sorry. So we're gonna get brighter again, and we're gonna get a little cool, and we're gonna get bluer. And we'd actually lose saturation because our object is somewhat brown, and the light is blue, so it's a bit of a, what is it called? What is it called? When two colors, like orange and blue, what are they called? Complementary? I'm not sure, but basically when you mix orange and blue, I think it's red and green, purple and yellow, they become neutral. They become less saturated, so basically that's why I'm desaturating it and bringing, like, instead of like, oh, why don't you just like make it saturated blue? Well, the thing is, the object is brown, and when it comes in contact with blue light, it's going to become desaturated, so that's why I'm doing that. And I also have to move it towards the cools, so that's why I did that. And see, now this is the same object in different rooms, and if we remove the room, you can see how different the colors and the values actually are of an object, and that is basically color. That is basically what makes color difficult. That is how you deal with color, is with light and object. You have to take in consideration the color of the object, the color of the light, and the strength of the light, and possibly the room, because the room can have balanced light, can cause balanced light. If the room is like small enough or like has enough ways to affect the object, it will. And so you have to take a lot of that into consideration, like this sort of that environment basically. So yeah, keep in mind the light and the object and the brightness, and that'll basically give you everything you need to find the saturation, the value of the object, and the hue. So that's all I'm going to say for this video. If you have any specific questions about color, make sure to ask them in the comments and I'll try my best to answer them. Or if I think they're um, like a big enough question, I might make a video on the entire thing. So like if you have a question on certain materials, skin tones, or something like that, I wouldn't mind making like a series of this. Like this could be the intro to something, because I realized that this was like a very broad video and it didn't really get into any specifics. But if you want to, I can make videos like that. Just leave me a comment and let me know. Otherwise, I probably won't do it. Um, but I hope this was a helpful video. I hope it helped at least one person. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.